Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Dennis the Menace Strikes Again. 1998. This movie surprised me. Got really bad reviews. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. The reason to watch is Don Rickles with his Jewish New York accent. I had to admit that I laughed more than a handful of times in this one, and the ending was pretty good. And Carrot Top has a bad reputation for acting, but he came up with a funny line playing the con man. He comes knocking on Don Rickles' door, plays Mr. Wilson, and he says, we're from the government and we're here to help. That was a pretty good line, actually. Kind of surprised me, this movie. The slapstick humor and the Don Rickles one-liners. So it starts out on Mr. Wilson's birthday, Don Rickles. Yeah. He's thankful that Dennis doesn't know that it's his birthday. In case you don't know, Dennis the Menace was a newspaper strip from a long time ago. I remember seeing it back in the 80s, but anyways, Dennis knew all along that Mr. Wilson's birthday was happening, so he decides to bring these jars full of spiders, mice, reptiles, snakes, frogs, and whatnot. He brings up the barrel. He brings in the wheelbarrow and he's clanking up the stairs while Mr. Wilson's taking his relaxation bath. The frog gets loose, starts squirting water in Mr. Wilson's face. Then Dennis gets freaked out. He knocks over all the jars and all the critters get loose. And Don Rickles comes up with a funny line. What do you think this is, Dennis? A jungle? The way he says it is just classic. I love Don Rickles in this one. Carrot Top, yeah, not that great, but he did have that good one line towards the middle. And so Don Rickles falls down the stairs and he ends up with this birthday cake splat on his face, upside down. Then George Kennedy plays Dennis's father, or grandfather, excuse me. He's decides he wants to live with Dennis to spend more time with him. The kind of thing I would do if I was George Kennedy's age at this time. And Dennis just is a walking train wreck, basically. He just can't stop getting into trouble. So he's got this 7-year-old redheaded girl, kind of a Shirley Temple type of girly girl. He prefers to hang out with the tomboy girl, who's way cooler, by the way. And they belong to an all boys club just because she's a tomboy. I mean, and she gets jealous when Mr. Wilson tells the Shirley Temple girl to pretend like she's interested in bugs, spiders, and things like that. So she makes up pretend bugs and spiders just to impress Dennis. Dennis starts hanging out with her, and then the tomboy girl gets all jealous. She's plotting some kind of plan to get Dennis back with the other boys in the club. And meanwhile, Mr. Wilson is being victimized by the con man. They're trying to convince him to pay $10,000 for this root that Dennis found over in the creek somewhere. It's supposed to make him younger and more lively. So Dennis shows him the one that he found, and he decides to make tea out of it. And he gets his lip all black from the dirty thing that Dennis found. And then they bring some kind of machine that they say is going to make him younger. But then Dennis sprays cotton candy all over the place and ruins the machine somehow. Then Dennis's parents, they try to get George Kennedy to buy Mr. Wilson's house so that Mr. Wilson can move away from Dennis, which is like his life, his dream ever during the past 7 years since Dennis was born. And at first they agree, but then the professor and Carrot Top are back, pretending to be government inspectors. They make him pay for all this construction before he sells the house, because his house is illegal to sell unless he gets an upgrade. So they're like poking holes in the roof, ripping out wires and stuff. And then Dennis tells his dad. Dennis's dad tells him to stay away from Mr. Wilson. But then Dennis's dad compromises. He says if Mr. Wilson is in danger and he yells help and he's hanging from his finger and Dennis is the only one who can save him, then Dennis can go on Mr. Wilson's property. So that pretty much sets up the ending. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I thought it was a lot better than the reviewers gave it credit for. I haven't seen the original, so I can't really compare it to the original. But I'm almost tempted to watch the original Dennis the Menace movie with different actors, just to see if it was better than this one. But it's rated G. It's geared towards 7-year-olds. I just thought it was pretty good, watching it from an adult's perspective. I thought it was funny at parts. I didn't laugh through the whole movie, but it had its moments, let's say. And the ending tune sounds a lot like Frank Sinatra. So that was kind of surprising. Wasn't expecting that, but not a bad movie, not a great movie either, just kind of in the middle. So I'm watching Deliverance right now, and man, it's got a lot of bonus features. I'm a big John Borman fan when it comes to movies like Excalibur and Zardos, but this one looks like a nature movie. I don't know if I'm gonna like this one, but kind of an anti-progress, pro-nature movie. Not exactly something that I'm looking forward to. But I've got another movie after that in the works. Hopefully I can get through Deliverance tomorrow. The bonus features are really long. If not tomorrow, Sunday for sure. And then hopefully I can finish up that other disc, get into some I forget the name of the director that I'm gonna watch coming up this weekend, but it's coming up later down the pike. Maybe I'll surprise y'all when I get around to it, because I keep forgetting the name of the movie after Deliverance. But yeah, I'll keep plugging away and get these movie reviews in later.